Howdy everybody, welcome back to the channel. We are back with another video on The Sims, and this is a video I've been wanting to do for a while and I completely forgot about, and that was talking about things I love and hate about each of the Sims games. I'm going to be covering The Sims 1 through to The Sims 3, and each is going to be a part in the series. So this is going to be the first part with The Sims 1. I'm going to be going over the stuff I love about the game, stuff, because I love a lot about The Sims 1, and stuff I don't like about The Sims 1, my criticisms of the game. And it mainly comes down to difficulty, and stuff like that. So that's what I'm going to be doing with this video. I'm going to be sort of covering the stuff I love and hate about The Sims 1, because I think it could be pretty interesting here, and I want to see what y'all think. What your issues with the games are, what you love about the games, and stuff like that. I think it could be an interesting discussion here. So that's what I'm going to be doing with this series, is pointing out my criticisms, because I have a lot of criticisms of each of the Sims games. Even though I love the first 3 Sims games, they have their problems and they're not perfect. None of them are perfect. And, I'm not one of these people who thinks The Sims should be the only life simulation game. Hell no. There should be more life simulation games that aren't The Sims. Like, I've seen a couple coming up, like Paralives and stuff like that, which seem pretty promising. I think Paralives to me is the most promising, but who knows what's going to happen with that? I don't know. But yeah, it seems pretty interesting there, and I hope there are more life simulation games that can rival The Sims. But without further ado, let's get on with this criticism. Yeah.
Why are you the way that you are? Honestly, every time I try to do something fun or exciting, you make it not that way.
Alright, so getting started with things I love about The Sims 1. And the first one is the graphics. Now, this may be a rare opinion, I don't know, maybe some people agree with me here, but I love the way this game looks. I love this old school graphics, like this sort of, there's something just sort of cool about it, playing this game, because it's the only Sims game that has this look to it, and I think it's just really unique. And it's very much like another franchise I'm a big fan of is Silent Hill. And Silent Hill 1, the graphics are, pretty dated. They're pretty dated. But I love the way that game looks. I love the way the characters look. And it's the same with The Sims 1. I love the way the graphics look, and I love the way the characters look in the game. And The Sims 1, it has my favorite sort of appearance of the Goth family. I love the way they look in this game. Mortimer Goth is dripped out in this game. He is dripped the fuck out. You have Bella Goth's first appearance here. Unfortunately, after this, her appearance was pretty changed. Pretty changed, like big changes from how it looked originally. Like in The Sims 2, she looks very different from how she looks in The Sims 1. I don't know, I just find that odd. Another thing I love about this game is the NPCs. This game had so many good NPCs that never returned. You have the cake dancers, Bunny and Chip. You had the other cake dancers as well, like I think there was a gorilla, a pink gorilla called Jane the Gorilla. There was Elvis, there was the clown that would appear in the cake as well. And of course you have the tragic clown who played more of a role in this game, whereas in The Sims 4 when they added him back, he was kind of just a random NPC with makeup on, whereas in this game, he's an actual character, and he's creepy, he's weird, and he's a pain in the ass. Following on from that, we of course have the items as well. There's some really cool items. This was the introduction of the Love Heart bed, a very iconic bed in the game, which just looked cool in the game. And you have the Bonehilda as well, Bonehilda, which was, you get this coffin and the Bonehilda skeleton maid would come out of it. That was cool. You had all the Magic Town stuff, all the magic items, all this unique stuff, all this wacky, crazy stuff. And we also have the humor of the game. This was back when The Sims was more targeted at a young adult audience. It was less sanitized, and it was, the humor was more there. You had the cake dancers there, you had the, tragic clown, you had this creepy stuff, like these creepy phone calls you could get in the game, and that's another thing I love about The Sims 1, the creepiness. I love the creepiness of The Sims 1. I love how creepy and weird some of the stuff is in this game. And I think that's because of my love for horror. My favorite franchise, one of my favorite franchises is Silent Hill. I mean, get and you have Resident Evil as well. I love those franchises, and I just love horror in games, and that's why I love a lot of the stuff in not Silent Hill 1, in Sims 1, because there's, this creepy sort of stuff going on. It's weird. So yeah, that kind of sums up my positives there of the game. There's probably more that I'm not thinking of right now, but those are some of my main positives of this game. Now let's get to the negatives. So the first one is a very big one, and it's one that I think most people can agree with. It's the needs system. The needs system in this game sucks butt. It is terrible. It is ass. It is way too difficult. It goes down way too quickly to the point where you can't really have much fun with the game when you're dealing with this system because, you know, they have all this fun stuff in the game, all this stuff you can mess around with, yet you can't always do it because your Sim's constantly in a bad mood. Then you have, of course, the fact that your Sims cannot even age in this game. And I think the point where this becomes the biggest problem is with the children in the game. So in the game, if you have two Sims kiss a couple of times, there will be an option to have a child. I'm talking about the base game here. They'll have an option to have a child. If you do this, a crib will turn up, out of thin air pretty much, and you can pretty much raise this baby. It's kind of difficult, but you pretty much get the hang of it. You raise this baby, and then it ages up into a child in the game. And that's it. It remains a child for the rest of the game, never ages up, never turns into an adult, and just remains the same age for the entire game. And I think the reason they did this was because if it aged up, it wouldn't be related to its parents because, you know, there's no family tree in The Sims 1, so nobody's technically related. You know, there's no siblings in The Sims 1. That's why Michael Bachelor and Bella are not related in The Sims 1. There was no family tree here, so if you had a child age up, they could romance their mom because there was no family tree system in this game. Another obvious complaint is the fact there's no weekends in this game. Your Sim is always going to work. They never have a break, and this can become a real pain in the ass with the stats system and can sometimes make the game borderline unplayable because you're constantly trying to deal with your stats and you can never get them up high enough to, get promoted in your career and get your performance up. And of course, you also have the friends system with work as well, where you have to have a certain amount of friends, which I always found that system so stupid. I'm glad when The Sims 3 removed it because that whole needing friends for work, I found that to be so dumb. Such a dumb feature that was in the first two games, and I'm glad they removed it because that just added more, especially with The Sims 1, that just added a real challenge to the game that didn't need to be there because the game was already hard enough without that shit. So, yeah, mainly my complaints with The Sims 1 are pretty much summed up by the fact that this shit's too difficult, dude. But yeah, that's most of my real complaints there when it comes to the game. There's probably others, once again, that I'm not thinking about. But yeah, that mainly sums up with, I love the graphics, I love the way the game looks, I love the NPCs, but it's mainly the gameplay is where it can sometimes suffer. And that's what I'm talking about, the needs and, the work, having to do the work and stuff like that. No weekends, no nothing. That's where it suffers. That's where it goes down for me, is when it comes to just the gameplay and stuff like that.